Or do you need me to sit
No.
next to you?
Yeah.
You got Strumbuck coming, so I'll put Jimmy right here.
Exactly.
I gotta watch the audience out here so I can know how to react to what I gotta say.
There you go.
Because if they got this scowl on their face, I'll stop talking.
Speak loudly because this guy over here doesn't hear very well.
Well, yeah.
This guy right here, he doesn't hear very well.
No, that guy doesn't either.
Here's Jimmy, here's Bob.
One seat left right there, Jim. The rest of you are all taken. Too bad.
Okay, well, if you need me for anything, just call me on that.
Okay.
I'm 21.
Geez, Bob, I remember you used to be up here.
I know.
Don't even look at it.
That's what Jim was saying. Now I got Jim again.
Yeah, exactly. Come on up, Bob. You're
Sit here?
you're the show, man.
It's smart.
Vinny's not here,
About
so
the show.
room in the-
Hey, how you doing?
We got Dave and who else is?
We're in for Dave, Tinas, and
Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Bob and Martin.
Yeah,
He's
Bobby,
here,
he's-
so we'll
he's-
go
he'll
for
be
him.
here.
Yep.
He'll be
he
here.
ran
I'm
in.
out there looking over the
We have a quorum with past
facilities.
board members.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Should I hand this stuff out now?
I'm a slow reader, yeah, please.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever you want.
What are you doing here?
times.
I'm the
You're here?
liaison. I'm the liaison.
Oh, I thought John was back here. You are.
Oh, see,
He knew he needed backup.
Yeah. And all at this, well, I suppose we should just
We
wait.
gotta wait till everybody gets here.
About the chair, huh?
Yeah.
Here, I got plenty, I think.
Okay. Make sure the board members get one.
We have to have a election of officers too.
Yeah, you're just a
Oh.
fill-in. I'm just a fill-in. I'm just the one that's either gonna say yay or nay later on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Throwing at you guys
Yeah.
first.
Why are you
It's-
even here?
It's gonna go no matter what.
So I have to,
Oh, I see it's under new
so you know
business.
how I'm gonna vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's ready to do your
I think
split
Mark was
off.
a little upset that I was here, that I wasn't gonna vote for something that, he was here one time and I went, well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna vote that way.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was just-
Roger Ramsey is a. He's
Yeah,
with
one
He
more of
did,
those,
yeah,
Bob.
he did the appraisals on both properties at about the same time. And that's the only reason I brought that.
Yeah, okay.
And they're old, you know, they're 2012 appraisals, so I'm
Right.
sure it'll all have to be done again. I'm
Right,
guessing.
right.
But it just kind of gives an idea of, you know, the prices and what things
Is that
were.
consistent with the assessments are for the property taxes?
It's, the one is right on.
Yeah.
The
Usually
Union
not.
Oil facility is a little different.
Okay.
Yeah, not by much, but
Mhm.
We have both those assessments in here? Or just the one?
I didn't bring the assessments.
That's okay, you can get them.
I didn't bring either an assessment. These are appraisals.
Yeah.
You can get them.
So we got this one back lot back here. Is that where the house is sitting? It says, what is it, 8A?
Yeah.
That's where the house is
That's
sitting?
Ed's house, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Her grandma, I think it was his mother's house.
Mom and
Mark,
dad.
yeah.
Yep.
Which he asked us one time if we wanted to buy it, and they didn't want.
Okay.
They knew, we knew what we were gonna do with this stuff, so.
Neptune is a street that's not there.
Is it Tango?
Correct.
Well, Neptune is kind of there, but it not right behind the property, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah. But there is a Neptune Street, it's where those three houses are, where Dave Bird.
Oh,
and-
yes, okay, but it
That's
doesn't go
the-
through to.
It doesn't go through, it's
to,
not a through street,
Louis' old place.
right.
It's a through street.
No, it kinda S's up.
Yeah, but you can go all the way and get up in.
Oh, yeah, but Neptune doesn't go straight through to Tango,
To-
would it
to
be
Surf.
Tango Street, Surf Street,
Surf.
yeah.
Hi.
You guys been here a while?
Yeah.
When did it start?
Well,
About an
just
hour
waiting
ago.
for you.
I gotta get here early to get a piece of pizza.
Cool
No,
glasses,
drive in.
Oh, yeah.
Drive in.
green.
Kids got them. Just like old times, Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know if Tinas is in town?
I assumed he was.
Yeah. He was on it yesterday when I reminded everybody, so. I just sent him a text. Should we wait for you? Oh, there he's coming out.
Somebody-
Or maybe,
Yep, there's the man.
There he is. Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah, she's good.
One of those.
Yeah. Looks like I made just enough copies. Lucked out.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody need a packet? Take it away.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It's noon on the 31st of October, 2014. And present, we have Bobby Dolan on the board, Jim Strumdahl, Bob Dolan, Dave Tinas, Jeff Funt, and Bob Martin, and myself. So we have a quorum. So we need to approve the minutes of the September meeting.
Do an extra one of those go over?
Yeah.
Everything look
Pass
up to
that
par?
down, too.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the minutes of the September 12th meeting of 2014. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Okay, amendment and approval of this meeting's agenda. Anything anybody want to add, or? No? I guess we can adopt it as a guideline, and if we want to add something later, we can. Is that okay with you guys? Sure.
Sure.
Do we need a motion to approve or not?
Yep.
Move to approve the agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and approved, moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda as a guideline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Visitors' views unrelated to the agenda. Hearing none. Visitors' views related to the agenda.
That would be me.
That would be you. Okay, we can go ahead with this, or we can wait until we get down to it on the agenda.
Okay, yeah.
But you want to you want to address that, we'll keep that in mind and make sure that you're at when we get down there on the agenda. Is that okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Harbor Master's report.
Okay, it's in your packet there, just a little brief one page here, lots been happening. Harbour Shack, just to briefly, we have a couple new staff members. So Ian Hamilton joined us, he's gonna be our new harbor security assistant and the maintenance guy. Ed Herman joined our staff as the night guy. George retired, and so he stepped into George's spot. Things are going well. We got guys going on vacation through the end of the year, so it'll be nice to have those guys to fill in as we need. Maintenance-wise, we got the maintenance team working on a bunch of things that you need 2 guys for, so as well as winterizing the facility. Public Works, great help assisting us in relocating a lot of the salvage material that we've been collecting over all these projects, which consists of pilings and stuff out both at the old fuel dock as well as the crane dock. And we're up and ready for, we salvaged a portion of the transient float from the old North Harbor, remember, and turned that into the trawler work float. We still had a piece that was 87 feet long that was in good shape, so I had the boys clean it up and rewrap it, and we applied for, and we should be getting hopefully word next week if we can take it out to that area between the brand new fish cleaning float and the west wall that we'll have someday, and so we'll have a little gillnetter Alcatraz, 87 feet of gillnetter Alcatraz. So
Excellent.
that's that. Hopefully, that next report I'll be able to say is done.
All right. Is that gonna take piling to hold it in place or just anchors?
Piling. Yep, I applied for, and we're using some salvage piling that we got, and yeah. North Harbor, we finally sent, got the letter of completion out to Western Dock here midweek, so that's huge. DOT's reimbursed all our funds, and I was checking in with Jody, and she didn't get back to me, but we have between 400 and 500 that we're transferring back into our savings from that project. So we, we didn't run into any trouble, and so we spent about $30,000 in contingency fund over and above that big electrical upgrade. That was a contingency fund factor, but so that's good. We throw that back. It's like 465 or 463,000, I think, at the last time she reported to me. Drive down project. Tamaco's steady working on the approach. This last week they the cement guys laid the foundation for the abutment. It's amazing. If you get a chance to go take a look at that, that thing is skookum. It's going to be pretty impressive when it's all put together. Rock and Road's completing the uplands. Bear Electric and Petersburg Municipal Power and Light is laying the conduit this next week and start getting on the electrical portion of it. The manufacturer has upped their staff, and so they're working around the clock, and they're getting a chunk of our float out about every 5 days, and it's getting sent up to Bellingham to the treatment place, and we should be able to start seeing those here in a couple of weeks. And the way it'll work is they built it so that it can be transferred down the road as opposed to thrown in the water and towed up here. So they'll come in chunks, and then they'll bolt them together at the site there. So Jimmy will be driving some pilings to get ready for that soon. At this point, we still have about $1.3 million left in that legislative grant that right now is just slated for contingency funds. But we hope to finish this project without tapping into that. Crane Dock. Western Marine drove the last pile beginning of the week, and we held the walkthrough on Wednesday, the 29th. Looks great. We opened it up. We opened up the facility. We don't have the crane okay to use yet. The big crane is still has to go through and have the inspector here, and he'll be here on Monday picking him up on the afternoon plane. So we will deal with that then we'll be open for business. And we had a little bad news last month on the number 2 crane, the annual inspection that we do every fall. They came through, and I wanted them to do it while it was down, while the facility was down, so we wouldn't have to go through it after we opened the facility. And the inspector reported that the number 2 can't be certified. We I don't know how long ago it was, 10, 12 years ago, I think. We had 5 feet taken out of the boom, and the motor changed, and they did some work on it, and now because wasn't done by, it wasn't okayed by the manufacturer. Actually, we can't get a letter okaying it by the manufacturer. It's pretty rough. I can't get it certified any longer, so I'm dealing with a couple of different outfits for estimates on shipping them either south or north. There's a place in Kenai that the Homer Harbor Master is just having all his cranes rebuilt through, and then there's an offshoot of North Pacific Crane that does a bunch of work like this down in Seattle. So I'm trying to get quotes from them on what a complete rebuild would be, and then we could get it certified. And I also got a quote. I did go ahead and get a quote what a brand new 2.5-ton crane would be, and it is $60,000 delivered to Seattle. So anyway, so that's something we'll have to deal with here.
Is that
in the
crane
next
that
month or
you
so.
got the quote on, that's what the the boom the right length.
Yep, yeah,
Instead-
it's a 20-foot boom on, yeah, so. The grants, fish cleaning float was installed beginning of the month, so that's great. I love it. It's kind of modeled after the North Harbour design. There's about $19,000 left that we applied for and we were awarded, and the bids came in real competitive. So we have $19,000 left that we thought we'd just have to turn around and send back. But they got a hold of us here a couple days ago and said, hey, if you had, could you spend it? You know, we don't want to go through another round. If you remember, I went through a second round trying to get a little bit more money for that dream float I have for, you know, the transportable fish cleaning station, and they denied us on that. But anyway, so we went about it again, and I've been working with Stan, proposed some maintenance on the existing fish cleaning tables, as well as a new fish hanging rack. The one we have presently fits on the corner, and you know, we're always having trouble with sea lions stealing fish off, and it's kind of a scary thing. People try and dangle behind it, and so we've decided that we'll move it to the center of the float and just build a new one, or use the parts and pieces and get something new. And then I was hoping that I could start piecemealing this float together, and maybe be able to afford to just build the gut barge of part of it that we could use today and help us out with our sea lion issue. So I proposed that, and yesterday morning the grant administration had run it up the chain, and they're okay with us building a new rack, and they're okay with us dressing up the tables a little bit, but they're not. They think that's going too far. So we have $19,000 to spend. They want us to spend it, but we can only spend it on the tables and a new rack.
Maybe we should call it something else besides a gut barge.
I don't know. Anyway, it's just typical. So, but hey, we get to use it, and I applied for the extension till the end of February. So I've been talking to different guys about what they could do for us, and we might have just an awesome $19,000 hanging rack. I don't know.
Stainless fish cleaning table.
Yeah. So those fish cleaning tables are, you know, they're 30 years old, and the plastic on it is cracking and stuff. So we just want to resurface it, and Ole's done some great work out at Tonka. I don't know if you ever swing through and see, he just built them some nice tables and stuff. So anyway, we've been talking. Went on the Harbour conference in Ketchikan. It was great. Highlight was PND presented on our North Harbour, and a big topic for everybody around the state is the GFI compliancy on the electrical system. And so he was, you know, Mark, he showed up. He brought one of our electric poles that he was able to go and plug in. I mean, like the pole that's on the float,
Yeah.
he brought one of those. And he brought one of our 3-phase power boxes.
Yeah.
He brought one of those.
Wow.
And he brought coils of wire, and he did this just dynamic presentation about what this is, going all the way back to explaining the code
Yeah.
to the harbor masters about what it really is all about, to why it came about, to he had people crying because he described how painful the death is when you get shocked in the water. And I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. And then he went into, okay, now we have to live with this, and this is how, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so then I got up and you know, told him how, what we did to get our fleet on board, because he also used a reference to Homer's harbor master and Sitka, who had the exact opposite example. Homer they have 35 of their big boats leaving this week because they cannot hook up to power. Because they didn't know what was hitting them, and so they didn't go down and, you know, visit and get the boys all set up with isolation transformers, and now you can't find any, and nobody knows how to install them, and they're all, you know, the locals are just kind of, we don't have time, so they're heading to Cordova. And
Wow.
I would have been curious to see
So-
them to pack in on one of those transformers,
Yeah.
isolation transformers instead of the pole. I'd pack a pole any day over a transformer.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like
I know.
400 pounds, those
Yeah,
transformers.
yeah. So it went well, and I think he's going to end up getting a lot of business out of it. So that was good. If you notice, we had the Homeland Security hauled out. Piston Rudder, I called them up, and they were able to get it out right away. And so we've been talking. I was talking with Mike about a new bottom paint that they have for aluminum boats. So we might put that on the future. That it's a one time only. It's a 4-part. 4 base coats, and then you put this fancy thing anyway. So we'll see, maybe in the future, but we're good for another 3-4 years as it stands. And the harbor's busy. Divers and crabbers are working.
So I have a question. What's happening with the electric fence and the sea lions?
Well, I got the okay to put it back up, and we have a smart sea lion in our midst who is now ducking and dodging the fence, and up in around the plains now. So, but as it stands, the reason why we did it is just so that we could keep pile driving, and so at least we don't have 14 of them out there. And I just have this one problem child that we run off early in the morning, and we're able to continue driving when Jimmy needs to work. So
Well, I just
Kinda where we're at
came
right
in
now.
a little while ago by the sockeye, and the haul out, I haven't seen any there for a long time. There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, good. That's
30 or 40. But the
good.
cans are still full.
Well,
That's where
I
the gut burn should go up.
I talked, like I told
Yeah.
you last time, I talked to the lobbyist, and hopefully they'll be able to get something, in the DC end of maybe, I don't know why that shouldn't work. We should be able to, even if I could go out there and run trolling wire around it and just keep them off there. But so far, no.
Then they'd go over to Cooperdorf Dock.
You know what they have out
Oh,
in,
yeah.
what
Thank
they have
you.
out at Port Armstrong is they have an aluminum plate down that's electrified.
There you go.
So if they come up on it like that, then they get electrified, for the brown bears.
Yeah,
what they have it there
sure.
for.
Same type of deal.
I hear that's a really painful experience.
The screaming deaths and, the anguish cries, but anyway, instead of wire.
Yeah, they were
aluminum.
coming on a petrol port for a while,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
stopped.
Yeah.
The pulsating sprinkler, man, that's what works.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had that set up too until Eric Roosevelt finally figured out that we were using that Etcher was using his water, and he got a bill for $375. And he brought it to me, and I said, I have nothing to do with it. Go talk to Etcher. So, wasn't my idea. I liked it, but it wasn't my idea.
You can adjust them too, so they don't use so much water.
Yeah, well, Etcher.
Too bad we can't put a pump and just use salt water. Then it
Or
would just be
sensor.
Yeah.
electric bill.
Motion sensor,
Motion activated water cannon.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay, any
Thanks.
questions for the harbor master report? Okay, do we have any unfinished business that we need to talk about? Okay, hearing none, we have new business, board positions. Need to elect new board representatives or rep, or whatever you want to call them.
We need a chairman and a vice chair. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if
need a
the
secretary.
current chair and vice chair will continue to serve? Do we know?
Are you you're the vice? No, Glenn is.
Glenn.
No.
Or
Yes.
Bob?
Are you, Bob is? Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it a secret. It worked pretty well today.
Okay, maybe you should conduct the election. That'd be,
Okay. Bobby Dolan is gonna make a motion.
I just like things the way they are. It's working fine. I don't see why we should change,
I
Okay.
second that.
unless somebody doesn't want to serve. so.
Okay, so Bangs is your chair and Martin as your,
Secret code.
your secret code. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, thanks.
That was quick.
Okay.
okay, Mr. Bob, Petromarine land transfer proposal.
Okay, my name is Bob Volk. I'm with Petromarine, and we're finally going to sell the Union Oil property over there. No more babysitting it, hopefully. So what I'm doing is just bringing it up to the city if they're interested in it. We would like to do a land swap if they're interested. And what we want is, we would like where the gas station and there's a warehouse on that property, we would exchange that property for the Union Oil property. That's pretty much what it comes down to. We're gonna take the tanks out. I'm sure that'll be one of the questions. So all those old tanks will come out, Petromarine will do that.
Is there any
And then
testing for contamination or any of
Well,
that?
on that paper, the back is the reports from the DEC, and it's all the reports from 1994 all the way to 2012. So DEC has closed that contaminated site now, so it's not a contaminated site, so it's got a clean bill of health. So that's.
They could change when the tanks come out. Or it
The
could be a
tanks,
jet- or-
see the tanks when Ted, see we didn't have anything to do with that, Petromarine didn't. So when Ted Smith, the owner of Union Oil, when he moved that tank farm, all the soils under where the tanks are now was clean, right? So then what he put in was a secondary containment, which is concrete floor
I saw it.
with a membrane on the concrete, and those tanks are put into place. So likelihood, I don't know, if there's any contaminates under that, would be very unlikely, but I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it would probably have to be tested, but I don't know how it would become contaminated under there, because that's what it's designed to do, is to keep, all the
Or state of
petroleum
the art at the
products
time.
in it.
Yeah, state of the art
so-
at the time.
But,
it's
so
highly
what
unlikely.
happens and who's liable for that, I'm not here to, to say what's gonna happen there, but
When the tanks are removed, is the concrete gonna stay there?
the
Is that-
slab will stay there. What we'll do, and it's up to, I got a couple contractors that are giving me bids on it. And for sure, they have to knock one of the walls down to get at the tanks. So 2 of the old tanks will get scrapped, and there's 4 newer tanks, we're gonna keep those tanks. And then that's the way it'll sit.
The cement stays?
The cement will all stay, yeah, and the existing walls will
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna relocate the tanks?
We're gonna scrap the 2 old ones, like I said, and then the other 4 are going to be laid down in the property that we have where we're located now. And they're gonna be put on cribs. And then, there could be other facilities within Petromarine that might need those tanks at a later date, so.
Oh, sure.
But all the tanks have been cleaned, all the pipelines have been,
So they'll be
You know,
coming off the property?
they'll be coming off the property, exactly.
I was gonna say, I thought I heard that they thought those tanks got steam cleaned and purged, after Ted sold out, so.
No, we used them after
You
Ted,
did?
yeah,
Yeah,
but we had
they
our
used
maintenance
before.
crew come in and clean them.
Yeah, I knew that one point when they took the pipeline out, that was taken
Yeah,
care of.
all the pipes from the tanks that went underground are all gone except for cold storage, and that's all new piping there.
And we're
So-
taking that out in the next, 10 minutes.
So there'd be some good pilings for somebody,
Yeah.
if that's all new steel.
So I didn't get a chance to look at the numbers, but is this kind of like just a swap?
This will be whatever the fair market value is at the time. Because this was just something that I got up, just to give you guys an idea, because we had the property appraised in 2012. And right at the same timeline, every 5 years, we have to have the property we lease from the city also appraised, and we pay for it. And then we pay a certain percent of what that property's worth, and that's what the lease agreement is. So it just happened to be at the same time, both properties were appraised. So I thought I'd bring that, just so you had an idea, the worth of the properties we're talking about.
Those are, what numbers are those?
Okay, so
282 to the
that first
370.
page, 370, that was the appraised value of the Union Oil facility, and that consists of the warehouse and all the property. The tanks aren't included in this, and there's an oil water separator that's not included in this either. And I could have brought the whole appraisal, but it's about that thick. I thought I'd just throw this out here for this first meeting, so you guys kind of had an idea of what we're talking about. And then that second, and then the second page of that 370,000, that's just kind of a drawing that kind of shows the lots that we're talking about. So there's 7 little properties there, 7 little lots, and then the warehouse sits. I kind of drew in where the warehouse and the office is.
Third page shows it pretty.
Yeah, that gives you the square feet and stuff. You know, and how it, you know, with the cold storage across the street. And so then that second group of paper, that's the property we lease from the city, and that's where the gas station and that other warehouse is. And when the same appraisal, when Ramsey came in and appraised, that's what he appraised that property for. And that's without the gas station building,
Right.
right? That's just,
280.
yeah, that's the 280. And then down below, that's what we pay for leasing that, is 28,000, so it's 10%.
So that's an annual lease?
That's an annual
So
lease,
that's-
yeah,
That's the rent the city would be losing per year,
correct.
is the 28,000, not the other numbers?
No, the other numbers stay intact.
is-
That
this
first
is
number
gas station.
Right, I-
is the dock, and you know, Jim.
Right.
You know all that.
So we
And then
get
there's
out of
pipeline
that
corridors, or the other
28,000
easements.
Right.
and-
Is what is, this is our total.
So it doesn't-
all
the price-
four Petro
the-
leases.
the-
This is the 28.
The value of it doesn't include the gas station, the building.
Right, exactly.
So
It's
that'd
just
be-
land. It's the land in that warehouse behind, or on the other side of the gas station.
Virtual's own the gas station? So they're leasing
Virtual's
it from-
own, they are subleasing from us.
From you guys,
Yeah,
okay.
we lease from the city and then they sublease from us for the land that the gas station's on. So we just thought it'd be a much cleaner, you know, if we owned that property too, since, I mean, we got pipelines going through it, we got gas stations sitting on it.
And you're responsible for any mess up.
That
or-
is part of the lease agreement, yes, that we have with the city, that whatever, I believe, and Glo probably knows more about that, or Jim, how that lease agreement works, but what I've read on it, whoever leased is the leaser of the property that we lease is reliable for any contaminants or anything in there. So whatever's in the gas station, I guess would be,
At this
you know,
time,
not
it'd
being a
be-
lawyer,
it'd be
I don't
on
know
you
that. Yes.
At this time,
Yes.
the way it's written out.
Yes.
Until the pocket drives up and they go after, DEC doesn't care who,
Yeah.
so. Go after
Well, I mean,
Petro first,
Petromarine
and then go
deals
after
with this kind
Petro,
of
and then
stuff
go after.
all the time,
Yeah.
so, I mean, this is nothing new.
So Bob, in your preliminary numbers here,
Yes,
what is the difference between the piece of property that the old Union 76 is worth and what you think
okay,
this
so
other
that,
stuff is
that,
worth?
the first page, if you see it up on top, I have highlighted the Union Oil facility.
Yep, right.
Okay, what that appraised at was $370,000.
Yep, got that.
Okay, so the next page, or
Page
group
number
of
2.
pages, I have the Southeast
station.
Island Fuel gas station.
Yeah.
That appraises at $280,000.
Difference is about.
So it's about 90,000
90,000 difference, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
So
that was clear.
Petromarine
Could have
would
speculated,
want,
but,
they would
yeah.
want the difference, of course.
Yeah.
Because
How
we're
would they
gonna,
want the
we're gonna move
difference?
the tanks and, what's that?
How would they want the difference?
Well, there's a couple different things, and that's not up to me, but
Right.
my thought on it was we also pay quite a bit of lease on other properties, so it could be a credit on that.
Like per month or?
Well,
or
annual, this is
Yeah,
an
yeah,
annual
yeah,
lease, so
yeah,
just
yeah.
the dock that we lease and the property around the float, we own
Right.
the float. That's
Right.
31,000 a year,
Right.
right there annually.
Right.
And then there's the pipelines and.
Right.
So it either could be that, or they would want, pay up front
Cash
or
or whatever,
or
yeah.
whatever,
Okay.
whatever. I think they'll work with however,
Could we stretch that out so it's, like 10 years? or
that,
something to do it?
I wouldn't not be able to answer
But I mean,
that.
I'm just wondering if that was
that's-
something that was brought up, or was it in a 5-year or ASAP?
I
kind of
think-
thing, you
He
know?
said,
The
when
way
I
Pet-
asked him
the
that
way-
exact question,
The way Petromarine is,
He
they
said-
probably work with whatever,
Okay.
whatever
Yeah, I think
The
a
city
10-year sort of thing would be easier to
fairly
swallow
wanted to
it,
do.
Yeah, Jeff?
roughly.
Well, Glo, how would we use this property?
well, thanks for asking. I've been a proponent of getting, we need a maintenance facility. In 2006, we took over ownership of this, $45-50 million facility, and we're doing most of the maintenance out of the back room, and 6 satellite AML vans
Where are they?
around in 3 different locations. We have them in the Middle Harbour parking lot. We have them out in the port storage area where the bait houses are, and we have, I don't know if you've driven out lately, but a considerable amount of usable space out at Scow Bay. And so what I would like to do, we spend a lot of time going from point A to point B and running around and borrowing, this at Public Works and all of that to put it into one location. So what I see is a storage area for our stuff, either relocating the vans, and tucking them up in the corner. Or just having space to throw our stuff. And then using the building for storage and maintenance.
How big is the building?
How big is the building?
I don't have that square
Pretty good
footage in front of
pretty
me.
good size.
30 by 60 maybe.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's got a loading
yeah.
dock too.
It's
That's,
got a loading dock.
It's probably,
on it,
you probably got the 60, right, but the 30, it's not very wide. It
Really?
doesn't go
Mine might be
back.
30.
Yeah.
Well, those lots are 50
And,
foot.
and that
Oh, okay.
information, I mean, I
It's
can
got a-
get that
It's
information.
got a
Easy.
loading deal where you can back a truck up and just come out through a big door, and I mean, looks like it would be really handy.
One-
So that's what I would, and so we've been talking about this, this for probably since Bob was on the Harbor Board, but
Talked to Bruce Jones about it years and years
yeah,
ago.
and we need a place. We're now on par with Public Works or the Power and Light that have a facility that requires a lot of stuff. So we need to have a facility just like they have yards, and so we'd use it for that. And of course, we also have an issue with impounding. Right now, we have to get in line behind other departments to use the police's impound lot up at Public Works, and I was turned down 3 times this summer, on impounding boats because they just flat don't have the room until they go through and do an auction and things like that. So that having a fence around it would be an ideal spot where we can, when we go to impound boats, we need to make sure that they're taken care of properly because they're in our
We're responsible, huh?
we're responsible for
Once you
them.
attach it.
one
So
valuable.
I have to be really careful in that. So we'd use it for that kind of stuff, and who knows, future, maybe, maybe we could do some long-term parking there or other storage.
It's
But
about
that's what
300
I see.
300 by 300. No, it's about 150 by 200 on the big end.
Well, a valuable byproduct would be we would gain valuable parking spaces downtown by removing those vans.
Right.
Parking space
And
and more
parking
space
space
in,
are worth a
in the
lot.
area where we're storing shelter decks too.
How about those cement pads? How big are they that are under the trunks?
Well,
Or is it one
they're
big-
huge, yeah, no, they'd have to be busted up to get them out of there.
Do they have to come out?
I wouldn't think so. No.
Could they be a foundation for whatever?
For the,
The walls are like 8 inches, I think. So-
and
Are they below ground?
Hmm.
It's above ground.
They're
no,
above ground.
it's up on the upper behind the building there.
The walls are above ground.
So they drain, you could leave them and drive your vans on them or
Yeah, we
whatever.
put our vans on. The other thing that, we've been talking about, how we are neighbors, along the waterfront. And one of the nice things, somebody already mentioned, getting some of our vans and equipment out of the Middle Harbor. We currently store trailers there. We have 2 vans. We're filling up that parking lot more and more. Get out of that, open up some space there, open up some space at the port storage. We're full. All our excess goes out to Reed's right now, and they're full now too. And we hear that Piston and Rudder, if they ever want to expand, and we've all seen the conceptual drawing of their future, to get out of their way. So I think this would be beneficial in moving to the next step also of having to redesign the Harbor office. We've been talking about, remodeling the bathrooms. They're 35 years old. Those public restrooms are pretty tough shape, and now with
accessing through what's the name of that street? It's not really there.
Tango.
Neptune.
Well, Neptune.
Is that a problem? I mean, would it maybe necessary to have that street pushed in so you can access the back of those lots?
Well, you can access the
Okay,
back of
now?
those lots.
Not the,
now.
no, not
Can't
the
you
back.
up
On
there
the
by
side here, you
Callum's?
can.
The center side, but not the
Yeah.
Neptune side.
The side and the front, you can.
But there's right of way there.
Oh, up by like the Callum's house or
Yeah,
up there?
yeah,
Oh, I thought
that's
there
what
was
he's
a
talking
gate
about.
there.
Well, there's a gate on the side.
Yeah,
It would
that's
be
what I
on
mean.
the side where Ted's house, or
Yeah.
Ted and Ed,
But not the
Right.
south side.
but not the south
Oh,
side.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, I
the
mean,
west.
sure,
I've
someday.
noticed-
There's actually two gates on the west side.
Sure,
There's one
that's
on the
what I-
lower side
yeah.
and one on the upper side. And then
Right.
another gate on
Maybe
the
that's part of their
northern.
access, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's pretty good access up there on that corner, that far corner.
Well, with the Smith house
Oh.
there anyway, there's really no need, but I can see why you would need that. I mean, you got access to those three.
Because that's where the pad
And
is.
you got Ted's mother's house taking up quite a bit of that area, so I don't see it as an issue.
Maybe it's not necessary.
I don't see it as an issue.
Unless you want to use the street to park stuff.
On the street?
It's just wood.
Just saying, huh? Just saying.
Right. But
Well, it has a lot of potential,
Yeah.
you know.
it
and
does,
be
you know,
something
and
to
it's
weigh the
on
cost.
our list to, right now I can just see the benefit of freeing up existing space and not having to go out and purchase space or take away from what we have and going out and purchasing a building, because that's what I'm talking about. We're gonna have to build a building here soon.
So what would be
So
the
that
next
would
step?
get-
Move
The next
forward.
step, well, if you see this piece of paper that, that I sent out, these are the questions that the city manager and I've kind of discussed, some of the details, that we'd have to be the checklist. And so you're number 4 here. The Harbor Board will be hearing this today at their meeting and preparing a recommendation to the assembly. So that's kind of what I'm going to, as a staff, recommend we move forward with this. And he's asking you to give a yay or nay if you think we should move forward.
Like tentatively, or whatever that
Yeah, or
word is?
just encourage him to.
I would be
Go.
more comfortable of viewing this, now this is just from an assembly point of view, of the remainder of this $90-some thousand that we're gonna end up having to,
Yeah.
lease, or, through some sort of agreement with Petrol to stretch that out as far as possible, like 10 years maximum,
Sure.
kind of a thing.
But
So,
that would
so you
be-
guys would have to agree upon that's what you would like to present to
But that would be
Petromarine, then
your ballgame.
Petromarine would then.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, no,
that's
I'd rather all this recommendation comes from you guys.
Well,
You guys already work it out with
we don't-
Petromarine.
They're
Petromarine
not-
already says, okay.
Harbor Board doesn't
We
do
don't
it.
do the finance.
You
Well,
don't do
I
the
know,
budget.
but what I'm saying is that you say, this is the proposal. We look at it,
Number 6.
and then we look at it, and then it would be a slam dunk for me if it was stretched out instead of a 1 year or cash out.
Well,
pocket.
if
And-
the
and
harbor,
then-
if the harbor staff brings us something,
Yeah.
their proposal, then we would have something, but we can't make up financial stuff.
I guess we could say Petro's agreeable to something like that. If the assembly-
But looking at that, it
That's
would,
what I was thinking.
Yeah, we could say,
Yeah.
have you talked with Petro, that
Yeah.
they're agreeable and flexible in terms of making up this difference.
But I'd like to see us put up the positive, aspects of the trade. I mean, we talked about buying the First Bank building to gain 14 parking spaces for $300,000 or something,
Right.
So the value of some of the things that could happen if we had that, it would save us money by not having to build a building, and it's ready to go.
Well, and that's one of the things here on Steve's list is number
Yeah.
7. Talk about it, because I don't want to stretch it out and turn this into a bunch of interest.
But,
Because
you know,
they're
you
not going
really
to just
would-
hold
you
their
really
money. I mean,
wouldn't-
it's pretty soon you're going to be interest. I'd rather pay it off if we can afford it and get done with it.
you really
So-
wouldn't have much when you're looking at,
Yeah.
you're looking at 28,000 taken away from 71. Well, that's ballpark quick figure, and that's 50 right there. So 1 year of
Couple
not
years.
getting your rent,
2 years or something.
So in 2 years, you'd have it paid off anyway.
Done.
So it's
Because
a
there'll be
moot point.
interest, there'll be interest, I'm sure, and.
Yeah, but that, you know, if you could do it, the quicker you could do it, the better off you are.
And-
I recommend that we vote in favor of proceeding with this transaction.
I second.
Okay, that sounds good. All those in favor of proceeding or sending the motion to proceed with the proposal and let the harbor staff come up with its recommendations to come back to us again. All those in favor of that,
Proceed with
say aye.
caution.
What's that?
Proceed with caution.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So
Okay.
that does that.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah,
good idea.
that
Yeah.
was
I think
great.
it's a
Thank you,
very
guys.
positive
This
thing.
is
I
really-
just came from there. I love the idea.
Yeah.
Love it.
And there's a lot of property there that
There
could be
is a lot of
used for
property,
yeah.
lots of different things.
Well, and the nice part about it is this line right here from DEC that says that this has been closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that
Cleanup
report shows that.
complete.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy Toledo,
That's a
that
big
is,
plus.
that right there.
Yeah, we're just,
Well,
like I
that
said,
makes
that
it
one
doable.
wall's gotta come down.
Exactly.
Rocket, that's where
I
Rocket
didn't,
Road's
you
at.
know, that's as
Yeah.
much
Or a
as you
section.
can
And you know,
hold.
you got a
Yeah,
view
come
from
on
those
by
upper
and
lots.
I'll take you through the whole thing.
That's why we're thinking that parking lot would make a great old folks home up there. We could see the guys in there just layers. We get a view. We get a view of the cold storage, so we can see
You
who's
know,
coming
it's-
and what they're doing, and we can sit up there in rocking chairs and talk about it.
Easy street.
60 and 30.
Okay, okay.
Oh, you mean
Hold
that
on.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, we're down to, we're done with ports, Petra Marine Land
Okay,
transfer.
thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks, Bob. Okay, communication. Does anybody have it? Oh, one thing I wanted to question again before we go into the winter, so we can think about this before spring, is we still have crappy internet service in the harbors. We should have Wi-Fi. And I just keep thinking that, I mean, I've been in the office when people come up off their yacht and wonder, how come I can't get Wi-Fi? And then you send them up, they end up at the library or up in the office, and it's just,
It's-
it's crazy that we
Well,
can't get Wi-Fi.
I can tell you that we've been exploring it, and we have a proposal with AT&T or AT&T, whatever they are, to provide. It all has to do with the that fiber optic cable, and they're investigating the upgrade. And so they're doing it at the school, or they're talking to the harbor and the school right now about, you know, giving the costs, seeing exactly what it would cost to do that. To at least have the infrastructure there that we could then, at some point, you know.
So it
put
is
in a
moving
Wi-Fi.
forward. slowly.
But the thing is, it's gonna be for profit. It's not gonna be free Wi-Fi.
Well, they have to
use.
do the cable to us regardless. They're the ones that do it. They're the ones that own they're the only ones that'll talk to us about laying fiber optic cable. So that has to be done. And then once you get that done, then opens up the door to putting in
The infrastructure
the
of the,
infrastructure for Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Mike, what are the other harbors doing in South?
Well, like, I don't know, we looked into it when we went to the head tax committee, Glo and I went, and they were in agreeance to giving us the funding to put that in, because I think Sitka has free Wi-Fi. They're all going that direction, because it's pretty, inexpensive in the big picture.
Right.
And so we decided to go ahead and try to get free Wi-Fi for our harbor, so it was attractive to people and
Right.
tourists and stuff
Right.
to spend a few days here. So we went to them, and they were in agreement, and then AT&T said, no way, this is interfering with public, this is enterprise.
Gotcha. Mhm.
So that's where we were at, and we said, well, provide it then. We just want it provided, and then, people were calling up, and a couple people that lived in the harbor, lived close by, were using it in the harbor, but they couldn't use it, and they were paying for it, because it just didn't work.
Right.
So I'm not satisfied with what's going on, and I think it would be a good thing for the harbor and the borough to provide that.
When we talk about,
As a
even
destination, you have to be
having it-
competitive with other destinations.
Yeah,
That's the way it
and that's
is.
what the head
This
tax
is-
committee said. That's a great thing. That's a very positive attraction to our
You go
community.
any place else and it's automatic, it's just
Well,
on here.
You know,
I don't
me,
see it in other harbors.
I never found Wi-Fi or Wrangle.
Yeah,
I never
me
found
too.
it this summer.
What?
I never found Wi-Fi this summer. I wonder if Wi-Fi is gonna become obsolete with, you know, cell phone data plans.
It could.
Yeah, because they plug into
I
the
functioned all
computer.
summer
but-
long on, you know, 3G or whatever my iPhone 4. I mean, I don't know if Wi-Fi. Everyone's getting data plans now with their smartphones. It's required, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, but I know it's in demand right now.
Might be going the way of the 8-track.
Might be going the way of the man.
Wait,
A.
What's that?
Except even with the iPhone, there are things you have to do on Wi-Fi that you can't do on your data plan, like
Right.
update
Like
things.
updates.
Yeah. You still need a Wi-Fi program to do that, but you don't have to do it.
Like I said, I functioned
Immediately.
all summer without it. So.
Yeah, I did too.
Did you stream movies? And
My crew members did. I mean, I don't know, depends on what your data plan can support.
yeah. Anyway, okay, it was just an idea that I know we haven't gone anywhere in a couple of years now. I thought I might bring that up again. Okay, any discussion items? Anything you guys want to talk about related to the harbor? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay,
So what's going on up in Homer? I was gonna ask you that question about the electricity. They just put in the GFI stuff? And then the boats just,
thanks you guys.
Yeah, they have all these
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
these meters, but they can't, the boats plug in and they can't hold them.
they don't have a bill, Anchor Electric up in,
No, apparently.
I
And
don't have
they,
after
they didn't know, they didn't know about transformer, they didn't know about isolation transformers, nobody's ordered any, nobody's had the discussion. They don't-
really?
Yes.
So they're bleeding? Thank you.
What's going on
Go
there?
where?
Making the value of my house go up.
Trying to freshen
Your
things up.
class.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Where they going? Okay, I saw you.
Or those are sewer.
Yeah.
And they're able to support them on an
Might
old
have to be
system then?
thinking
Yeah,
about a
systems.
swap for a warehouse.
So, and
It's
see
gonna be
the
really
trouble-
interesting to see what happens with the new
Well, what the
system.
code says is that, like, we eventually, you know, originally had talked about only rebuilding a portion of the North Harbor because we couldn't afford it.
And I could have my
Thank
warehouse and
God.
Dave could have his.
Got money out of PMPL, because if you touch a service,
Oh,
you
okay.
have to replace the entire thing.
Ballpark.
You can't just replace a portion of the electrical.
Okay.
So that's gonna
And so it has to go all the
really
way up to the upgraded, latest, greatest, whatever.
greatest. And so that is a real issue that other harbors are gonna have financially. If you can't afford to do the entire thing, don't touch it.
Yeah.
So
So,
my $1,700 investment is basically,
You know that,
I
I
can
can make
get out of jail
warehouse.
free card, I can plug in anywhere. That's got
Opens up.
208.
You bring your boat right up the side, right there, go back cycle.
It's just a jingle on the bellfold, you know? I mean,
Where did the Haverlet go? Did you get out of Dodge already?
build early.
yeah, yeah.
Thought I would throw that, stretch it out over 10 years.
Yeah,
of
you know,
software.
I don't know that this is, you probably better go visit with Bob about it. This is Bob's stuff.
You should go look
This
at the
is- I
property
don't know,
before he says no.
and these are all
Because I don't think
hypothetical.
it's fabulous.
you know, That kind of stuff, so
It's
maybe,
a fabulous piece
I
of
mean,
property.
yeah,
And the
and
port
that'd be fine, I mean, you can make a
definitely
copy
could
of
use
this or
it.
whatever, I want this for the
There's 3
schematic.
other dreams, not that we're lost, and I think it's a fabulous idea.
I'll tell them that we've been talking about that for over 12 years that I know.
Like Rose says, I mean, she's more concerned about whatever cord is born into the ground there, you know, than she is what's been left vacant and declared free.
Okay, there you go.
So,
What? Brazil? I don't know, why do you, is there something, I don't know.
I don't know, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. But if you don't know, then nothing is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything, he's just living the dream out there, and that's the same, you know, I mean, the same conversation we're having about the environmental aspects at the old tank farm that's been cleaned up. I mean, here's the proof is, okay, now maybe we're worried about what's under the tank, but, you know, I
And
mean,
what
it's
about
gonna
the-
be, I'm more worried about an operating gas station. that's actually working and
Right,
operating
right.
and
And spilling drops of
spilling
fuel
and-
every day.
and having tanks underneath that, you know, are gonna old, they're gonna get old, I mean, sure they.
In the
they-
ground, they're in the
but
ground, aren't
they're
they?
in the
paying less
ground,
tax.
You know, and
We're all
so
paying less
I'd,
tax,
I'd
yeah.
much rather get out of that and deal with, at least we know, we'll get a report, we have a report that says, you're signed off. I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, it is.
That's it.
You know that's where I went the first, first thing out of your mouth, but,
Right.
you know, you guys have it all in mind. About 3 or 4 of those talking points are all about
Yeah, the
the
environmental
contamination, the
aspect, and he can
environmental side
answer
of things and the
questions
liability
are
there, so.
answered, so. But I'm more worried about the little gas station springing a leak. Or the warehouse that all of a
You got my
sudden
vote.
that
It's a
50.
good deal.
All right, you got my
50
vote.
gallon.
Yeah, good.
I'm just hope that, you know, everybody else sees it. I wonder if we should just need to hammer on.
Anybody interested should go out and look at it.
Right.
I mean,
I
truly.
think what they should hammer though is that we're spread out with all of our equipment, we're wasting manpower running around
Absolutely,
with
absolutely.
vans.
We're wearing out trucks going from here to Scalabay,
Right.
gathering things up, and it takes 3 times longer for
Oh,
every
easy.
project.
Oh,
than
yeah.
it- You know, because
Because you get started on one project,